Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy, Brother Hush. Welcome to another episode of the PHIner Life Show. Now, listen, Charlynda over here. Charlynda is somebody that you need to know. Okay, well, why do we need to know her, Brother Hush? I'm glad you asked. Now, listen, she served in the Air Force. Okay, she's an officer in the U.S. Air Force, so you got to clap it up for the Air Force one time. Okay, but I mean, I'm a failed businessman, Charlynda. I tried to be an entrepreneur. I tried. I put my money
Right.
into some businesses and it just did not work out right now. But you're the CEO of Servant Leader. You got Mutt Sauce going on. You got all these things going on. You got a whole lot of projects. And I like to say that you are working it in the entrepreneurial, workforce and spirit. So you are a successful story for transitioning. So Charlynda, let's get into the show. Welcome Charlynda Scales.
Okay.
Hey, hey, what? Listen, I
Hey,
don't, I don't, I don't have that button that just be clapping.
the clap.
For myself, I clap myself. I clap
Yeah,
myself.
gotta clap for yourself. Gotta clap for you.
So, Jarlinda, let's get into your story. Tell me a little bit about yourself, born and raised, and what made you want to join the Air Force.
Yeah, Greg. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. This is really awesome to be able to chat with you and talk about this because it's been quite a journey. I'm a Tennessee country girl, so I was born and raised in Tennessee and grew up with my grandparents. It was a multi-generational house. My grandfather was my father figure. Lived with him, my grandmother, my mom, my cousins. It was like a big family in a little house. And I was at that point, my grandfather was the veteran. So I had some uncles who had been in different branches, but my grandfather was the only Air Force veteran. He was an aircraft technician during Korean Vietnam. Now, my journey started when I was in high school. Fast forward, I was an athlete and I wanted to play sports in college. I thought that that was my future. Tore my ACL first game, senior year, all the scouts disappeared. And I was really trying to figure out what my future was going to look like. And my cousin had just got out of Paris Island. He was a Marine and really thought that he had checked the block for my generation because every generation has a service member. But as my grandfather would have it, he's like, look, he came home after a year due to injury. Who's next? So that is where my Air Force journey started because I was sitting in the back of a high school math class, not paying attention, and the kid next to me was filling out a Reserve Officer Training Corps application, scholarship application. I said, "What is the problem here? You look like you're having a hard time filling this out." He's like, "No, you have to do like extracurricular stuff. You had to have good grades." And I was like, "Well, my grades aren't bad, actually." I said, "I'll actually take it from you." So I erased his answers, filled it out, walked down the hallway, ran into my guidance counselor. She knew my situation. She said, "Are you going to turn the scholarship in? You got to think about your future." I was like, "Yeah, here, you can have it." And next thing I know, I had a full ride ROTC to the college of my choice. So I went to Clemson, studied business management, aerospace science. Of course, Uncle Sam pays for school. You owe him time. So I ended up going active duty after that.
I was waiting. I was waiting. I didn't want to interrupt. I didn't want to interrupt because listen, and let's not get it misconstrued. I said you're CEO and a servant leader already at that point and juncture in your life. You were looking to help somebody else, and look at what the blessing come from that situation. Um, so keeping in mind with that, when you joined the Air Force, did you continue in that spirit? What was your job? What were you looking to do? What'd you get roped into, basically?
Yeah, so at that point, because I had a business background, the day they gave out assignments, they're like, "You're going to be a 63 Alpha acquisitions officer." And that was none of my choices, Greg. I had a whole bunch of stuff on my sheet and none of it was acquisitions. But they said that you're a program manager. And it just really, that wasn't something that was really popular back in the day. You could probably turn a corner and run into a program manager today, but then it was new. And, this is the early 2000s. So I just kind of went with it. You're going to work with a team, a program manager, acquisitions officer, oversees multifaceted team, engineers, finance people, contract, logistics. You're trying to put something on contract and deliver a capability. So I didn't know my business degree meant that I needed to be acquisitions. I really feel like I was winging it from assignment to assignment for a decade. But apparently I was pretty good at it. So it was a good career, 10 years of service. And I got out of active duty in 2015, 2 years into also being an entrepreneur. So we talk about business. I was actually running a company while I was on active duty for 2 years.
Now hold on. We got to go back. We got to go back a little bit, Charlynda. So
Oh, go
let me
ahead.
ask you, during your military career, what were some of the biggest challenges that you encountered, and how'd you overcome them? Because you
You
probably
know,
got some service members watching this right now, going through a little something, something.
absolutely. I mean, well, there's a ton of challenges that you're going to have on active duty. Just pick your poison. I'm a country black girl from Tennessee, and all the complications in trying to rise through the ranks, being who I am. Yeah. Do you have to adapt a lot? Mm-hmm. As a female, do you have to deal with some jerks? Mm-hmm. You sure do. Do you have to deal with discrimination sometimes? Yeah, I certainly do. But I just really try to be diplomatic and adaptable to my environment, and knowing that performance usually shuts everybody up. So if you have a complaint, you might complain about my personality, but you can't complain about the job I did. So that's what I would really focus on, was like that Colin Powell quote, "Bloom where you're planted." Don't don't obsess over the next assignment. Just rock out the one that you're in right now, and the rest will take care of itself.
Mm, So let me ask you, what was the I guess the point of in your military career, what was the point of aha-ness where you had that, I don't want to say epiphany, but it just dawned on you, this is where my career is going. This is what I want to do. Because you left after a decade. I mean, full 20. Some people, after you do 10, you like, I'm locked up. You won't let me in.
Yeah.
So, so like, what was that aha moment for you to want to transition, if you want
Yeah,
to share?
well, I definitely had started out wanting to do it just for my grandfather, because I was going to the Air Force. I was the second person now going into the Air Force. I'm the first officer. So I knew how much it meant to my grandfather that I served. So initially, when I went in, did I do it for me? No, I did it for him. He had stage 4 lung cancer by the time I graduated from Clemson. So I was very blessed that he was the first person to salute me, but I also knew that, understood greatly the legacy that I'm carrying forward, uh, by having been raised by this man, and know what work he put in. But then eventually I had to find my own purpose in it. And I had to find my own passion in my career. I couldn't just always be doing it for someone else. And I really love the impact. I mean, stuff that I've done, like the 2008, I helped put out the California wildfires. I was a lieutenant. I was brand new in the military, but as they say, they don't care what age you are. If you're wearing the uniform, you're capable. And leading a big team that had the Forest Service, you're getting called to write on behalf of a 4-star general everything that's going on in the news. Every quote he had, I was writing. Interactions with Governor Schwarzenegger, who was the governor at the time. All these things I really enjoyed. And then towards the end, I said, I'm going to stay in for 20. You're going to have to drag me out. I'm probably going to try to stay in as long as I can. And when I got the recipe for my grandfather's barbecue sauce, because he had made this sauce that had been in our family since 1956, he was really passionate about that too. When he had passed away, which was a year after that moment where he saluted me, uh, I had been on active duty for 8 years. I learned that I'd inherited this recipe. It was just a piece of paper. Now, most people would get something from a relative that has passed, grandma's pie, and it's just grandma's pie, and it sits in a little box in your kitchen. You never hardly look at it. But for me, I'm like, this man put his whole foot into this. Like, he was so passionate about solving a problem, and he had 5 children that were still alive, and I'm the 3rd grandkid. So I'm putting this all together, Greg. I'm like, this is a big deal. This paper is a big freaking deal, without even saying anything to me. Never spoken a word, because he's already gone. I dived headfirst into do something. 2 years into it, the business had grown so much that I was working 24 hours a day. I was working every weekend at events. I was working nights. Of course, during the day, you're in your uniform, and I was tired. So that, I think, that junction where you're trying to figure out, what do you do with your career? Do you stay in and let go of this dream that you keep having, or this vision that you have, or do you go after it? The hardest part is to walk away from what's comfortable and to walk into the unknown. But that's the reckoning that I had in 2015. I even made the majors list, and they're like, what are you going to do? You made major. I'm like, I'm getting out. I got out 48 hours. I was going through TAPS. They're like, you're going through TAPS class, the transition class, to get out as the board is meeting. And I said, if I don't do it, I'm going to end up staying, and I don't want to live with regret. I can always go back in the military, but I don't think I can do this again. This is a one shot jump off the cliff with the company.
So I have to ask, I mean, come on, you went from working with Governor Schwarzenegger and doing all these phenomenal things and having this illustrious military career. Making major is not easy. It's not easy. And you right there. And you said you were running the business 2 years, still in. I could just imagine the work ethic, the hardcore, dedication that you had. And all of this is telling me that you have absolutely no fear. So in getting
There's
this,
tons of it.
yeah,
You just gotta feel the
you just
fear
go,
and
you
keep
just go.
going.
So let me ask you this much. There's somebody probably watching right now, and we're going to take this moment and get back to your story. There's somebody watching this right now, whether they're a veteran, they're a service member who has a business degree, or they're a military spouse with a business degree, and they want to make that jump. What are the 3 qualities that a person, in your opinion, has to have that should make that jump?
Yeah,
3
well,
qualities. What are
yeah.
those 3 things? Like, and that you would encourage if they said, "Well, I have these 3 things." Make the jump.
hmm Well, business degree is not one of them. I would say just having faith in something bigger than yourself, uh, humility that go along with it. The humility, because you are continuing to serve as an entrepreneur. You're serving other people. I would tell an entrepreneur or somebody who wants to own a business, do not go into it thinking, I want to do this because I don't want to work for anybody. Because that's the biggest fallacy, I think, in entrepreneurship. You actually work for everybody. You aren't getting this business so you can slack off. You're going to work more hours than you've ever worked before, more than your 9 to 5. And the other thing is, you don't have to feel qualified to be qualified to run this company, to start your venture, to do whatever it is that you're dreaming of doing. Most people are looking for the box that we check. Like the military is so regimented, check the box, run down the reg, all this stuff. There's no reg, really. There's no rubric for being a great entrepreneur. You just really have to seek yourself and ask, what would I do? Would I do whatever I had to do to get this done? Do I have the support in place that my family, just like a deployment, do I have the family support? Because this is a journey. They did not sign up for this. They didn't sign up for any of this. And it is about to be a roller coaster. And they don't even know how crazy this ride's about to be. So you need to make sure that they have your back, because it is lonely. And even worse, if you have family members that, you know, are feeling resentment in any way or feeling left out. So, or they don't feel like you're communicating with them all your plans that also involve them. But you don't have to feel qualified. Overall, I would
Okay.
say, Greg,
Yeah.
let the degrees and the years of service,
Mm-hmm.
and the background, you
Mm-hmm.
could have been a maintainer.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You got so many people out there that, and I say business degrees because everything is so like everybody says this is the recipe. Oh, well, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you got to have a business because that's what society tells you. You can you can't be, an uneducated person and strive to succeed and succeed. No, that's wrong.
Mhm.
So I'm telling you anti what the establishment is telling you. And I mean, Charlynda, I have to ask this question. How did you structure your company? Because you wildly successful. You doing the darn thing. How
Yeah.
did you come up with the structure for your company? Did you take from your military experience or did you have a business mentor? I think that's the question. And
Yeah.
how'd you structure it from there? Go
That's a
ahead. Let's
great
the focus
question.
on
And
knowledge.
how did I get started? So, you know, I innately seek out anyone that I think could really teach me something. I want to be the dumbest person in the room. I don't want to start from scratch on my own. I'm going to find a smart person and latch onto them like a koala. And so for me, I Googled free help. I want to, it's that simple. I don't have any like magical things to tell you. I went to Google and I was looking for free mentorship of any kind. And really my only question was, how do I make a couple bottles for friends and family to give them something nostalgic? But my mentor, who is from score.org, they have chapters all over the nation. It's free mentorship. You can say, I want to open up an ice cream stand, and they will sit with you and walk through the steps of starting an ice cream stand. That's their mission. They're a nonprofit. You don't have to pay for a thing. So they assigned me a mentor. His name was John Suter. He was about the same age as my granddad. And I said, I want to make a couple bottles for friends and family. He said, back up. We need to do the 5 whys of this journey. Why do you want to do this? And I said, I love my family. I care about them. I know they all miss my granddad. This was something that meant a lot to him and something that was a main staple in our house growing up. So you want to provide an experience. Yes. You want to take care of them monetarily, probably. Yes. He said, well, I think what we're going to start with the foundation of having a consumer packaged good as a tomato-based product. And we're going to follow the checklist as if you were going to go into a big box retail grocery store like Kroger or HEB. Instead of saying we're going to stair step your requirements to get you to that point, this is where I want your mindset to be, as if you're preparing to go into Kroger tomorrow. So when people see how fast I scaled Mutt sauce, it's because I was not stirring it in my living room as like my first step. I looked for a legit manufacturer, used my savings, $25,000, and and got a manufacturer on day one. So when people were like, "Oh, how is Mutt sauce made? Did you stir it up in a blender?" No, no, sir, no, ma'am. Did not, did not do that. I have been operating as if it was a big business since I was a little business. I've always operated as a big business. And so you kind of grow into that routine and foundation. So when the moment arrives, you're not scrambling to prepare for it. I've been preparing for it since day one. So when I did eventually get 80 Kroger stores, I was not worried about how I was going to manufacture product. I wasn't worried about if my labels were the right configuration because I did all that work up front.
Oh, somebody watching this, you got the dime. She dropped the dimes on you. That's about it. That's about it. So let's talk about mud sauce.
Mm-hmm.
CEO, servant lead. I love that. I have not seen too many CEOs, COOs, servant leader. And I want to dive into why you dub that. Mud sauce. So we obviously know the backstory. Uh, Really, what is, I guess, the customer satisfaction? What are you looking for consumers who consume this product? Like, what is your daily motivator from the customers that buy the sauce? You know,
Yeah.
we know how you get it in there. We know how you got it on the shelves, but what do you get out of it that people that give you feedback?
Well, I love a good customer complaint. That's for sure. I don't think a lot of business owners understand that they're basically handing you the keys to show you how to grow your business. All you have to do is keep solving problems. And that's how it started for my grandfather. He said people are wasteful with condiments. Why do you have 10 of them in your fridge and half of them are expired because you hardly ever use them? But if I make something that has the flavor palette of like all your favorite condiments, then you'll use it more. You won't be so wasteful. So it really was just that was the problem he was solving. And now I say, we're not really selling sauce, we're selling family experiences. So I'm trying to get you to the dinner table. I'm trying to get you talking with your parents. Again, I'm trying to get you connected with your friends over a barbecue, reconnect with your military buddies over a barbecue. That's what my goal with this sauce. It's not sell a bottle of sauce. It is if I get in my inbox somebody telling me about their baby shower where everybody gave them bottles of Mutt sauce because they knew how much the baby's gonna love it. Like, or recently I got a letter from the USS Delbert D. Black Navy ship. It was from the commander of the ship saying, there's 297 men and women aboard my ship that want to say thank you for providing for making our meal better by shipping out some stuff before we left for our deployment again. So that's what gets me jazzed. Those things keep me going.
Beautiful, beautiful. So now we got a servant leader. What's up with that? Because it's kind of like that's your mantra, and it's the ultimate, I have to say, business world. It's one of the ultimate, conundrums. Because when you say CEO, you would in your mind, this person of power, this person of influence, and they have this big organization. And then when you say, well, leader, but then when you say servant, it's backwards. So what's
Mm.
up with that?
Well, it's to train your brain. So your identity is based on your mindset. So how people know you starts with how you see yourself, and it all flows from there to your actions every day. So I always want to have an identity of someone who gave more than she took and was not arrogant and was grateful. And so I internalize the humility on a daily basis. Be humble. It's okay to say, look, hey, I have a lot of experience. I've been through some things. I've been around the block, but also I'm just really grateful to continue to serve. And that's what I want people to walk away with it, that she's happy to serve.
Mm-mm-mm. Now we got to talk our stuff, before we end the show. Before we got to talk about all the accomplishments this sauce has brought to your life, and competition and all this stuff. So we got to sauce it up. You know,
Okay.
what have been some of the biggest accomplishments of your career? Being the CEO of Mutt Sauce. Let's run it down. We got to talk that stuff for the people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the ones that get me going are ones like the letter from the USS Delbert D. Black. That's to me an accomplishment, a great accomplishment. But I guess what people would consider like the cloud or whatever is on 6 months into owning Mutt Sauce, I was the first active duty Air Force person to appear on Shark Tank. So it's different because there's a lot of reservists. If you pay attention, when you see military people, they're either retired, they're in their guard or reserve, they're not active duty. So I had to actually get permission from the Air Force at the highest levels to appear on Shark Tank. And knowing that I hadn't even had the company for a year, yeah, that was a lot to be there. Did we get a deal? No, but it was great hearing from sharks that you got what it takes. All you need to do, we don't need to take part of your company today. You just need to hear from us that this is something that needs to keep going. So that was 6 months in. 4 years in, we won Bob Evans Farms Veteran-Owned Business of the Year. So we were one of the first grand prize winners of Heroes to CEOs contest. Now, I got there at Shark Tank, and I really wanted to pitch to Damon John, because they said you need to keep in mind the shark that you would most relate to. He and I were raised by single mothers. We understood what it was like to grind your whole life, not have things. So I was fully prepared to pitch to Damon. And he was the only shark that wasn't there. Now, yeah, I was like, oh, okay, this is great. This is going to go great. So skip to 4 years later, and I had applied on the very last day that this contest was even open. I was notified via phone call, and I was in Washington, D.C. walking through a federal building. I answered this number that I didn't know who it was, and it said, hey, it's Damon John. And so I'm sort of like, not like Damon John. Yes. So it was Damon John from Shark Tank. He was the surprise celebrity mentor for all the veteran-owned businesses. So at that point, I was able to sit down with him face to face, no Shark Tank involved, and just talk. He provided great mentorship. After that, took the advice and the funds from Bob Evans, got into Kroger. We got into a whole bunch of Kroger stores. We've been on QVC. We've appeared 3 times on QVC, where we were featured on Lowe's.com's website. We've been in Forbes. I mean, I've been on a lot of TV shows, but I think overall, the greatest thing for me is knowing that, 1, I can carry on a family legacy. 2, I'm taking what I know now and giving it back by creating mentorship programs, education programs for food businesses. I'm now the director of a commercial kitchen project. I'm building a $4 million commercial kitchen here in Dayton, Ohio. But I wouldn't have felt confident to lead a project like that had I not been through all the stuff with Mutt sauce. So yeah, it's been a great journey. A lot of cool moments.
I just had to let you talk stuff, Charlynda. I'm sorry. I had to let you just throw all the seasoning on it.
Too much.
Hush. Listen, I had to let you talk your stuff. So thank you so much. Mu Beta Phi Military Fraternity Incorporated. I don't know you. We got a whole lot of events nationwide. Maybe we might be dealing with much.
Hey,
Let me not say nothing. You want to know who one of our honorary frat is? Is actually your boy Damon's boy, J. Alexander Martin. He's down with the Phi.
I
So shout
love
out to
him.
Yes, shout out J. Alexander Martin Fubu. Yes, yeah, he's one of us. He's down with the 5. But anyway, listen, now it's time for you to put out the website so everybody. No, we're not giving out Charlynda's email. We're not giving out that. No, we don't need you in her DMs, boo boo. All right, but she's gonna put out where you can find everything at, and I'm gonna put it on the screen. So let me just hush up, and then you take the screen. Go ahead, Charlynda.
Certainly, you can go to muttsauce.com. 2 T's, 2 S's, muttsauce.com.
That's how we doing it. That's how we doing it. It just come across the screen, and everybody gonna be like, "Ooh, let me go on there and get it." What's the popping? Okay, if we got a barbecue and
Yeah.
we have to get 3 flavors
Mm-hmm.
for the barbecue, what we
Yeah.
doing? What we doing?
So I would say the original is very popular. Doesn't really have any heat. Sweet and spicy, it's actually the original recipe. Sweet and spicy is the exact original recipe. And then right now we have a limited edition bourbon Mutt sauce that's made with actual bourbon. We don't do bourbon flavoring. It's real bourbon, every bottle. Bourbon plus Mutt sauce. So that one is only seasonal. It will probably run out before the summer's over. So you can still get that on muttsauce.com.
So if they can't get that one, what's the third one? Just in case, because you never know.
For the people who are spice heads, we have a ghost pepper one.
Burn your tongue off. Make it wake up. Maybe
Well, it's
clear
not
the
like
next.
it's not called the ER level, but it's enough
Okay,
that you're
okay.
like, ooh, this is warm.
Gotta love it. Oh man. All right. Well, y'all know what your boy Brother Hush does. www.mbp5kings2017.org is like right there. I'm not gonna keep on saying it. I say it every show. It's right there. www. I said it, didn't I? It's right there. Y'all can read. Just keep on checking out the Final Life Show. Listen, Charlynda, we got some things to talk about. We got some things to talk about. We got some initiatives to go through. But thank you for being on the Final Life Show. Thank you for uplifting somebody who's probably sitting there. See, I done kicked my table. See, you got me kicking stuff over here. My light done fell off my camera, but it's okay. Somebody's watching this right now, and they're like, "I'm gonna start my business right now." That's what we
Right?
talking about, right?
Do
Get it
it.
done right now. Just do
Do
it.
it.
All right. Well, thank y'all for checking out the Final Life Show. I'm gonna stop kicking my tables and kicking my lights off. Charlynda, thank you for being on the show. And this is Brother Hush. Check us out on the next episode of the Final Life Show, y'all. Peace.